Buffalo City Metro, like most municipalities in South Africa, is confronted with the challenge of how to deal with the growing number of informal settlements. About 1/4 of all people in the city live in informal conditions. Because they do not have legal tenure for the land on which they live, the municipality cannot provide them with the infrastructure, basic services, and housing which the rest of the city's inhabitants enjoy. Despite their best efforts and resourcefulness, these 1/4 are unable to meaningfully improve their situation. The Constitution states that government must take reasonable measures within its available resources to achieve the progressive realization of the right for everyone to have access to adequate housing. So currently, the municipality tries to address the challenge by building Reconstruction and Development Program, or RDP houses, for each one of these people, and in this way move them out of informal settlements. RDP houses include a piece of land with legal title deeds, infrastructure, and full services. However, this approach alone is not working because of 3 main problems. Firstly, the municipality has limited resources and capacity, and so it can only move a few people at a time from informal settlements into the RDP houses it provides. This results in the second problem, which is backlog. Despite building approximately 7,000 houses over the last 5 years, the housing backlog in Buffalo City Metro remains more or less constant at 75,000 units. At the current rate of 1,400 units per year, it will take more than 50 years to address the backlog. And this doesn't even take into account the growth of informal settlements over that period. So while RDP houses are good news for those at the front of the queue, those at the back of the housing waiting list are likely to remain there for many years in undeveloped informal settlements. Thirdly, this leads communities to experience frustration with government and despair over being unable to improve their situation in the present. National government has recognized these problems, and since the launch of its Breaking New Ground policy on human settlements in 2004, it has been promoting upgrading of informal settlements as a solution. The National Development Plan of 2012 also calls for the enhancement of this upgrading program. But what is upgrading, and how is it done? Stated simply, upgrading informal settlements involves improving conditions where people are living now, rather than relocating a few people at a time into RDP houses. The key to upgrading is changing the legal status of approved informal settlements through zoning, which then recognizes the land occupation right of the community, and in turn opens the door for development to take place. Once this happens, the municipality is then able to use its still limited resources and capacity to provide a basic product to as many people as possible, and over time incrementally provide more products and support until all households in informal settlements have a full product. Upgrading requires a mind shift from government and communities, from focusing just on RDP housing to recognizing the importance of informal settlement upgrading as well. Let's look at 3 principles which underpin upgrading to see why. The first principle is incrementalism. Upgrading is undertaken in a phased or stepped manner, which progressively improves all people's lives over time. rather than immediately providing some of them with full services. The advantage is that people at least have their basic needs met at the start of the upgrading process. The second is participation. Communities participate in all phases of the informal settlement planning, implementation, and evaluation processes. Most importantly, communities are able to initiate further development themselves rather than waiting for government to provide everything for them, like in the RDP approach. The third principle is partnerships, where upgrading is done following a multi-sectoral approach involving housing, engineering, local economic development, environment, as well as many other sectors. The municipality can also partner with other government departments, as well as academics, the private sector, NGOs, and others, rather than trying to develop communities on their own. Once the municipality recognizes that informal settlement upgrading is the way forward, it will need a strategy to implement it. Here is what is proposed. We propose that the municipality should follow a three-pronged approach to informal settlement upgrading. Firstly, upgrade approved informal settlements. Secondly, make new land available where people can settle in an organized manner. And thirdly, prevent people from invading unallocated land. To begin the upgrading process, the first step that must be taken at the municipal level is the creation of a new zoning category which will allow for the issuing of occupation certificates to people living in informal settlements. The municipality then needs to categorize all informal settlements as either those which can remain and be upgraded or those that need to be relocated. If a settlement can be upgraded, it should be allocated to a round of upgrading to indicate the year in which the upgrading process will start. At the neighborhood level, the upgrading of an informal settlement should be divided into 5 phases. Phase 1 is preparing for development, where the municipality collects information and helps the community to get ready for upgrading. Through participatory planning exercises, they work together to jointly come up with a plan for how the settlement will be upgraded. Phase 2 is basic development. The municipality provides basic development products such as occupation certificates and basic services and facilities like communal standpipes and mobile clinics. Phase 3 is development support. At this phase, the community and municipality work together, with the latter providing ongoing support to enable households, business, and community organizations to further develop themselves. For households, this support could include information on how to improve their houses and how to organize a local savings and loan scheme. For small business, it could be access to startup loans and business training. Support can also be given to sports clubs, early childhood development centers, people with special needs, and many others. A neighborhood steering committee should then continually monitor the implementation of the upgrading plan and make adjustments as needed. In each round, the allocated settlements should follow the first 3 phases as described above, with each phase implemented in consecutive years. If settlements in round 1 started planning in year 1, then settlements in round 2 will start their planning a year later, and so on with rounds 3, 4, and 5. Once these 3 phases are completed per round for all identified informal settlements, the municipality will be able to come back to round 1 settlements and continue where they left off with phase 4, which is consolidation. By now, all the approved informal settlements have at least received some form of basic development and support, and so upgrading to full services and facilities can begin. For households that qualify, consolidation also includes upgrading from basic occupation certificates to individual title deeds and assistance in improving the quality of their houses. The last phase, phase 5, is ongoing development, where households continue to maintain and improve their homes, and the municipality maintains and improves the public spaces and facilities. By understanding the rounds and phases and using them to prioritize funding, the municipality can easily calculate how much money they will need in each year to upgrade all informal settlements. One of the most important sources of funding for upgrading is the Informal Settlement Upgrading Program subsidy. The Enhanced People's Housing Process subsidy can also be used by households to qualify to improve their homes. Another grant, among many others that the municipality can access, is the Urban Settlement Development Grant. In conclusion, the leaders of our cities and communities need to boldly support the upgrading policy and strategy outlined in this video if we are to significantly confront the challenge of informal settlements. RDP housing is only one part of the solution. Upgrading is required to transform informal settlements through an incremental and phased approach, where communities participate and partner with municipalities and others to co-create livable neighborhoods. Neighborhoods that people are proud to call home.